Hello and welcome back. Today we're exploring the tangible outcomes of the hyperbolic stretching program. With real success stories, measurable improvements, and expert insights, we show how this program delivers true, data-backed results that enhance your flexibility.
It's fascinating how this program, Hyperbolic Stretching 4.0, goes beyond simply holding a static stretch. It utilizes something called progressive muscle tension through dynamic and isometric movements to really target specific areas like hip flexors, hamstrings, and even the pelvic floor.
So instead of just passively stretching, you're actively engaging your muscles.
Exactly, and that's a key differentiator. Think of it like this. Imagine you're trying to lengthen a rubber band that's been sitting in a drawer for years. With traditional stretching, you might just pull on it gently, hoping it will eventually give.
Okay.
But with hyperbolic stretching, you're using those dynamic and isometric movements to warm up the rubber band, making it more pliable and responsive to stretching.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not just about stretching the muscle, it's about preparing it for a deeper, more effective stretch.
Yeah, precisely. And that preparation involves activating something called neuromuscular pathways, which are essentially the communication lines between your brain and your muscles. By stimulating these pathways, hyperbolic stretching may be able to enhance flexibility and mobility in a way that traditional stretching can't.
Wow, that's really interesting. But how does this actually play out in real life? I mean, are people really seeing tangible results from this approach?
Absolutely. And to answer that question, we've got a lineup of incredible success stories that showcase the diverse benefits of hyperbolic stretching.
Perfect. I love a good success story. Let's dive in.
All right, let's start with Chris, a 32-year-old triathlete who was looking to improve his performance and recovery times. He was already pretty fit, but he felt like his flexibility was holding him back.
I can relate to that. I'm always trying to improve my flexibility for running. What kind of results did Chris see?
Well, after incorporating hyperbolic stretching into his routine, Chris reported a significant 35% increase in his range of motion.
35%. That's a huge improvement. How did that translate to his performance as a triathlete?
Think about the demands of a triathlon. You've got swimming, cycling, and running, all requiring a different range of motion and flexibility. With improved flexibility, Chris was able to optimize his form in each discipline, leading to better efficiency and reduced risk of injury.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And what about his recovery times? Did he notice any improvements there?
Yes, he did. Chris mentioned that his recovery times were much shorter, allowing him to train harder and more frequently without feeling as sore.
So it's not just about performance, it's about recovery too. That's crucial for any athlete.
Absolutely. And that's where the focus on dynamic movements and targeted muscle engagement really shines. By activating those key muscle groups, hyperbolic stretching may help athletes like Chris optimize their performance and minimize risk of injury.
So we've seen how hyperbolic stretching can benefit endurance athletes, but what about other sports?
It can be applied to a variety of disciplines. Let's introduce Jasmine, a 28-year-old martial artist who had a very specific goal in mind: achieving a full side split.
Wow, a full side split. That's a serious flexibility goal. Had she been training for a long time?
Jasmine had been practicing Taekwondo for years, but struggled with that full split. After just 6 weeks of hyperbolic stretching, she achieved it.
6 weeks. That's incredible. How is that even possible?
Her story really highlights the power of targeted flexibility training and how it can accelerate progress. And remember those neuromuscular pathways we talked about earlier? By engaging those muscles more effectively through hyperbolic stretching, Jasmine was essentially retraining her nervous system to allow for a greater range of motion.
So it's not just about brute force stretching, it's about working with your body's natural systems. But did this newfound flexibility actually benefit her martial arts practice?
Absolutely. She noticed significant improvements in her kicking speed and power. Flexibility plays a vital role in martial arts, influencing both technique and execution.
It's pretty amazing to see how this program can help people achieve such specific goals. But what about those dealing with injuries or chronic pain? Can hyperbolic stretching provide relief and support recovery?
That's a great question, and one that many people have. It may be surprising, but a lot of people who are dealing with injuries or chronic pain see benefits from hyperbolic stretching.
Interesting. So who should we talk about next?
Let's hear from Sandra, a professional dancer who is recovering from an injury.
Being a dancer must require incredible flexibility. What kind of injury was she recovering from?
We don't have the specific details of her injury, but we do know that she was understandably skeptical at first. Recovering from an injury can be a delicate process, and it's natural to be cautious about new exercise routines.
I can imagine. So did she end up trying it?
She did, and within just 4 weeks, Sandra noticed a remarkable improvement in her mobility. Even her physiotherapist was surprised by how quickly she was regaining her range of motion and experiencing less pain.
That's amazing. Her physiotherapist was surprised. That really says something.
It does. This case really emphasizes the potential of hyperbolic stretching as a complementary therapy for rehabilitation. By gradually increasing flexibility and strengthening the muscles surrounding the injured area, it can assist in restoring functional movement and reducing pain.
So it's not about replacing traditional physiotherapy. It's about working alongside it to enhance the healing process.
Exactly. And it's not just for professional athletes or dancers. Even those of us who are stuck at a desk all day can benefit from hyperbolic stretching.
Oh, I definitely need to hear about this. Tell me about someone who found relief from those everyday aches and pains.
Let's talk about Mike, a 50-year-old office worker who is struggling with severe lower back pain and sciatica. He rated his pain level as an 8 out of 10. That's incredibly debilitating.
I can only imagine. I've had friends who have dealt with sciatica, and it's no joke. What kind of results did Mike see with hyperbolic stretching?
Mike's situation is, unfortunately, all too common, especially for those of us who spend a lot of time sitting. That prolonged sitting can lead to tight hip flexors and weak core muscles, contributing to lower back pain and even sciatica, as in Mike's case.
So how did hyperbolic stretching help him?
Well, after just 3 weeks of incorporating the program into his routine, Mike's pain dropped dramatically to a 2 out of 10. He even said goodbye to that dreaded morning stiffness.
That's a significant improvement. I'm starting to see how versatile this program really is. It's not just for athletes, it's for anyone who wants to improve their flexibility and reduce pain.
Exactly. It's about addressing those underlying muscle imbalances and promoting better alignment regardless of your age or activity level.
It's really encouraging to see how hyperbolic stretching can make a tangible difference in someone's daily life.
And it's not just about pain relief. Mike also reported improved posture and ease of movement, not to mention feeling more energized throughout the day.
It sounds like hyperbolic stretching was a real turning point for him.
It's amazing how something as simple as stretching can have such a ripple effect on overall well-being.
It really is. And we often think of flexibility as something that declines with age, but hyperbolic stretching challenges that notion.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm curious to hear about someone who proved that age is just a number when it comes to flexibility.
Let's meet Renate, a retired teacher who embarked on this journey at 60 years old.
Wow, 60 years old. I bet she had some doubts about whether this program was right for her.
She did initially. It's a common concern, especially when we're bombarded with messages that flexibility is a youthful attribute. But Renata was determined to give it a try.
Good for her. What kind of progress did she make?
Renate saw gradual improvements day by day, and by day 24, get this, she achieved a full head-to-toe stretch.
No way! A full head-to-toe stretch at 60. That's incredible. It really is. It shatters that myth that flexibility is just for the young, doesn't it? Hyperbolic stretching's gradual progression allows individuals to work at their own pace and steadily increase their range of motion, regardless of their starting point.
I love that. It's about recognizing that our bodies are capable of incredible adaptations, even as we age. It's inspiring to hear stories like Renate's. It gives me hope that I can maintain my flexibility for years to come.
Absolutely. It's never too late to start prioritizing flexibility and reaping its benefits.
So we've heard from an athlete, a martial artist, a dancer, and even a retired teacher. That's quite a range. Is there anyone else's story that you think really highlights the power of hyperbolic stretching?
Let's talk about James, a 45-year-old desk worker who, like many of us, was battling nagging back pain and stiffness from prolonged sitting.
The classic desk worker woes. I know that feeling all too well. What were James's main goals going into the program?
James was primarily looking for relief from his discomfort. That sedentary lifestyle can wreak havoc on our posture and overall mobility, leading to tight hips, weak core muscles, and all sorts of aches and pains.
It's like our bodies weren't designed to sit for hours on end.
Exactly. And that's where hyperbolic stretching comes in. By targeting those tight muscles and promoting better alignment, it can help counteract the negative effects of sitting all day.
So, did James find the relief he was looking for?
He did. Within 3 weeks of incorporating hyperbolic stretching into his routine, James noticed significant relief from his discomfort. He also reported better posture, ease of movement, and even increased energy levels.
It's amazing how improving flexibility can have such a cascade of positive effects. It's not just about being able to touch your toes, it's about feeling better in your body overall.
Precisely. It's about unlocking that natural fluidity and ease of movement that we often lose due to our modern lifestyles.
So we've heard some pretty incredible transformations. But I'm also curious about the science behind hyperbolic stretching. Is there research to back up these amazing results?
There is, and that's where things get even more interesting. We've got insights from experts in the field who have witnessed these transformations firsthand and can shed light on the mechanisms at play.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's hear what the experts have to say.
Let's start with Dr. Emily Cross, a highly respected physiotherapist who has integrated hyperbolic stretching into her practice. She's observed firsthand how this method goes beyond simply improving flexibility.
What else does she say about it?
Dr. Cross points out that hyperbolic stretching also enhances muscle strength and joint stability. In fact, one of the key principles of hyperbolic stretching is that by engaging your muscles more actively during the stretching process, you're not only improving your flexibility, but also strengthening those muscles at the same time.
So it's like a two-for-one deal.
Yeah.
You're getting stronger and more flexible at the same time.
Exactly. It's not just about being able to bend over and touch your toes. It's about having the strength and stability to control that movement and maintain proper alignment.
That makes a lot of sense. Strong muscles and stable joints are essential for everything from athletic performance to everyday activities, even just getting up from a chair.
Precisely. Now let's hear from another expert, Kurt Anderson, a professional trainer with over 15 years of experience working with athletes. Kurt has seen some impressive results with hyperbolic stretching, specifically when it comes to athletic performance.
Okay, what does Kurt have to say about it?
Kurt calls hyperbolic stretching a breakthrough for athletes because he's noticed measurable improvements in both range of motion and recovery times. He believes it's a valuable addition to any fitness routine, regardless of your level or goals.
That's a powerful statement coming from someone who has worked with athletes at the highest levels. It seems like hyperbolic stretching is more than just a passing fitness fad.
It really does. It's a program grounded in solid principles, and the evidence is mounting that it can deliver on its promises.
So we've got real people seeing amazing results, and we've got experts backing up those results with their observations and scientific insights. It's pretty compelling stuff.
It is, and it really speaks to the potential of hyperbolic stretching as a transformative practice for people of all ages and abilities.
It's been fascinating to hear these stories and learn about the science behind this approach. But before we wrap up, I'm curious to know if there are any common challenges or misconceptions that people should be aware of when it comes to hyperbolic stretching.
That's a great question, and it's important to address those aspects as well. No program is perfect, and hyperbolic stretching does come with its own set of considerations.
Okay, I'm ready to dive into those. What should people keep in mind?
Well, one of the most common challenges people face is initial soreness, especially if they're new to this type of dynamic stretching.
That makes sense. You're basically asking your muscles to work in a new way. So some discomfort is to be expected. What's the best way to deal with that soreness?
The key is to start slowly and gradually increase the intensity as your body adapts. It's also important to listen to your body and not push yourself too hard too soon. Rest and recovery are just as important as the stretching itself.
That's a good point. It reminds us that hyperbolic stretching, while effective, still requires effort and adaptation. What about the variation in results? Some people seem to achieve their flexibility goals much faster than others. Why is that?
That's true. Individual results can vary depending on a number of factors, including starting flexibility, consistency with the program, and even genetics.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Not at all. It's important to remember that everyone's body is different and will respond to exercise in its own unique way.
That's actually reassuring to hear. It takes the pressure off feeling like you have to achieve certain results within a specific time frame.
Absolutely. The journey is just as important as the destination, and the beauty of hyperbolic stretching is that it provides a structured framework for gradual improvement over time.
I like that it's about progress, not perfection. Speaking of structure, I've heard some people say that the instructions for hyperbolic stretching can be a bit tricky to follow. Is that a common complaint?
It can be for some people, especially those who are visual learners. While the program does provide written instructions, some people find it helpful to have visual aids like video demonstrations.
I can see how that would be helpful.
Yeah.
It's like having a virtual coach guiding you through each movement.
Precisely. And luckily, there are plenty of resources available online, including videos from certified hyperbolic stretching instructors that can help clarify the techniques and ensure proper form.
So even if you're someone who prefers to learn by seeing rather than reading, you're covered.
Exactly. It's all about finding the resources that work best for you. and setting yourself up for success.
Well, this has been a truly insightful deep dive into the world of hyperbolic stretching. We've explored the science, heard incredible success stories, and even addressed some of the challenges users face.
It's clear that hyperbolic stretching is a powerful tool for enhancing flexibility, reducing pain, and improving overall well-being.
Whether you're an athlete, a senior, or simply someone looking to move better and feel better, this program has something to offer.
And remember, the journey to greater flexibility is ongoing. Embrace the process, listen to your body, and celebrate every milestone along the way.
I love that embrace the process.
Mhm.
So, where do we go from here? What's the final takeaway for our listeners? What's the one thing we want them to remember about hyperbolic stretching?
I think the biggest takeaway here is that hyperbolic stretching isn't just about extreme flexibility or achieving a certain pose. It's about improving your overall well-being.
Absolutely. It's about moving better, feeling better, and unlocking your body's natural potential. And based on the stories we've heard today, it seems like hyperbolic stretching can be a real game changer for people of all ages and backgrounds.
Exactly. It's not just hype. There's real substance behind this method.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into hyperbolic stretching, what's the one piece of advice you'd give to our listeners who are curious about trying it out?
I'd say approach it with an open mind, be patient with yourself, and most importantly, enjoy the journey. Flexibility isn't a destination, it's an ongoing process of discovery and self-improvement.
That's great advice. And remember, you don't have to be a super athlete or a yoga master to benefit from hyperbolic stretching. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to take your flexibility to the next level, this program has something to offer.
Exactly. And don't forget all those amazing resources available online if you're looking for guidance support or just some extra motivation. There's a whole community of hyperbolic stretching enthusiasts out there ready to welcome you.
This has been a truly fascinating exploration of hyperbolic stretching. We've learned so much about its benefits, the science behind it, and the real-life transformations it sparked.
It's been a pleasure diving into this topic with you.
And to our listeners, we encourage you to keep stretching those boundaries and discovering your full physical potential. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.